Hello there, and welcome to this session solving tactics on chesstempo.com with the Advocate. This is actually just a back-to-back session that I'm doing with another one that I think it's session number 55 or 56 that I just did. So I'm just going to keep going. By the way, pause the video, blah, 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 do all the good stuff, blah, blah, blah. You know the deal. So something that I realized from the last session was that I'm spending forever looking for winning continuations when I really need to just decide at the beginning of the problem if it's defensive or if it's something where I'm trying to win material. So let's go ahead and do that. Is it a defensive problem or am I trying to win material? So two rooks, two minors, two minors. I have nothing hanging, so I believe this problem is trying to win material. And the clear continuation is bishop takes b6, bishop takes b6, rook takes a4. But the problem with that is bishop takes b6, rook takes b4 check, king a3, rook takes b6. Equal material, but black is now a pawn up. So I need to limit his options so that way I can still play bishop takes b6. I think that c3 is the way to do that. If I play c3, the threat is bishop takes b6. If pawn takes, bishop takes b6. If rook a8, bishop takes b6. So yeah, c3 seems to maintain, all of the threats in the position. Should I take that? Or should I? Oh no, 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 no. Come on. Ah. I misclicked. I accidentally clicked the b2 square. Motherfucker. That blows. Alright, whatever. Defensive problem or tactics problem. I am under attack, but I feel that my plan is just promotion. Rook f8, a4. Rook takes f8, rook takes f8. Or rook takes e8, rook takes e8. Rook f8. a5, rook takes e8. So rook f8, bishop g6 check, king takes g6. That does nothing. Oh, this is not promotion. I'm not promoting here. I'm promoting this way, duh. That was stupid. Alright, so if rook f8, then rook a8 is probably the answer. So I can still go promote. Rook f8, rook a8, d5. Rook takes a8. No. I can play rook check, king h5. I can play this rook check. Huh. So if I had my king on h6, I could threaten mate. So what about rook f8? And then he does need to handle the pin, right? So what about rook f8, rook a8, king h6? Mate would be unstoppable in that position. But after rook f8, how am I actually threatening to win the bishop? I guess I threaten rook f1 check. I'm threatening like rook f1, rook g1 check, king rook g8, winning the bishop would be the idea. So rook f8 pinning. He needs to find a way to unpin, and then I can threaten mate. Rook f8. If he just ignores the pin, a4, king h6. If he tries to stop me from giving checkmate, I can actually play rook f4, again threatening mate. But unfortunately, that wasn't it. Okay, alright, so there's a better way to force it. Yeah, I didn't see that. I just didn't see it. Black is about to queen. Okay, so knight takes here, and if queens, knight check wins the queen. Or is there some way to force mates? I could also play knight here. So I can take, or I can go here. Is there a difference? If knight takes here, king h3 check, or king b3. Knight takes here, king b3. Knight takes here, king b3, threatening b1 queens. How am I stopping that? I can play knight here, knight check here, king a2. Knight takes, king b3, knight check, king a2. So the alternative is knight here, king here, and I have nothing. No way to stop it at all. Knight check, king here, knight here, king here. I'd like to get access to the d2 square somehow, but that's too far away. I could queen this one instead. Knight takes, queens, knight check, king b3, and then a8 queens. Then I would have a knight and a bishop against a queen. But yeah, I just don't think there's a way to stop this pawn. Knight takes, king here, knight check, king a2. And he's going to queen. Knight here, knight check, king here. I can go back, but then b3 is a repetition. So yeah, let's just take here, give the check, promote. Next one. This looks very much like checkmate. What I would like to do is I'd like to get the queen off of the back rank somehow. But I don't see a way to do that. Pawn takes. Okay, so there's queen h5. Queen h5 threatens mate. Queen g8. And I have nothing to follow up. If my rook were in front of the queen somehow, I could perpetual. But I don't see how to organize that. Two rooks and a bishop against 4 pieces, a rook and a rook. So I'm a piece down, and I also have, and it's also So I'm a piece down, and it's also two pieces for the rook. So a perpetual is not the worst thing that could happen to me in this position. Like a perpetual is not a bad result here, if I can't find something better. Okay, so there's also, wait, so there's also, yeah, queen g6, not queen h5, but queen g6 threatening mate. Queen g8 looks forced. And then I can play rook takes check, queen takes, and then perpetual. Now if queen g8, king g8, queen takes check, king f, my attack continues. Or no, I would play rook takes h7. If queen here, king g8, I would play rook takes h7. He would need to play king f8 or queen f8. And then I can just bring in the rest of my pieces. e7, bishop h6. So now rook takes check, queen check, queen check, queen check. And if king g8, oh, I was thinking, it says queen takes h7 check, king f7. What happens if king f8? Queen check, bishop takes rook checkmate, rook check, not mate, but rook takes here. And this is like kind of equality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I'm going to win one of these pawns probably. And my attack sort of continues. So he needs to develop the bishop, and I win a pawn. And this pin is really gonna hurt for a while to come. All right, fair enough. I would not take with the pawn. I would take with the bishop directly to win the piece. Shirov playing white. Okay, if I move my knight here, trying to go for mates, black will have rook e6 check, stopping mate. So knight here, rook e6 check, king here. And now I am threatening king g3. How does he stop king g3? So knight here, rook check, king f4. Let's say bishop d5. So no, I don't believe it. So there's also knight, yeah, okay, so there's knight check, king e, knight check, king d, knight d2 mate, or rook d2 mates. There's rook check, if king e mates, rook check, king g, knight check, king h, rook h2 mates. So rook check, knight knight check here, mate. And if you go the other way, rook check, king g, knight check, king h, rook check, mate. Good one. I sort of figured that there would be some sort of forcing continuation there like that. I really should consider the checks before I consider the quiet move. Alright, so defensive problem or tactical problem. I'm going to go with defensive problem since I don't see any persuasive checks in the position. So the question is where to put my queen. Do I put my queen on b5 or do I take on b6? If I take on b6, rook b7. Rook b7, queen d4. Rook takes b4. So queen takes b6, rook b7, queen here, bishop f6, threatening knight f3 check. I don't like it. I think I just want to go to b5. Queen b5, queen takes, pawn takes. Rook takes a2. Magnus. Vladimir Kramnik versus Magnus Carlsen. I wonder if this is the championship match. Hold on. My landlord paid a surprise visit. So, I'm not really certain where we were. Let's just do one more problem. Okay, so defensive problem or tactics. I'm going to say defensive problem. Because king e8 and f6 pose some serious problems. e7 comes with check. King g6 actually feels like the way to go. Oddly enough. King g6, if promotes, I can take. Because if king takes f4, I have king takes h7. So let's say king g8, f6, king takes f6, f7. I have rook takes e7, f8 queen, knight e6 check, king f6, knight takes f8. And that should actually win for me. No, it shouldn't. It would be a draw. No, it would win. That would win. He doesn't actually have king takes f7. King f7. He'd have king f6. Knight takes f8. King takes rook. And then king h6 would win. Alright. So if king e8, pawn here. That's just, I'm getting so trapped. So king g8 just feels... So king g8, he has to decide what he's going to do with this rook. King g8, he can play king h6. Actually, he has to play king h6. And now what? Let's say king g8, king h6, rook e2. Rook e2, rook g7 check, king h7, rook h7 check, perpetual. King g7, king h6, rook e2, e8, rook takes e8, rook g7, king rook h7, rook h8, perpetual. Queens, rook takes, king takes. So I did not like this line. And the reason I didn't like the line is because I'm winning the rook at the end. So I didn't like this. I was going to say rook takes. If king takes knight, then rook takes here. Okay, so the move that I said was king h6. After king h6, it says knight d5 is the way to go. Not rook e2. Yeah, so, and then you just get perpetual. So, a perpetual seems much better than this line here. So like forced perpetual in 2 moves is much better than not a force to draw, or like a force to draw in 50 moves or whatever the hell. So I don't agree with the computers. I don't agree with what just happened there. Let's do one more for this session. Defensive problem, tactical problem. H8 queens is the threat. A threat in this position. It's not currently an active threat. So obviously if I play something really stupid like king h6, alright, so king h6 doesn't work, king f8 doesn't work, so the only good square is king f6. King f8, rook d8 check, king h6, h8 queens. I don't have any other squares, so the only square I have is king f6. So now let's start the actual problem. Alright, so now I can play b1 queens. Bishop takes b1, knight takes b1. If he plays rook d6, I can take on h7. He plays rook takes a6. I can play rook h5, getting behind the pawn. Should be a drawn endgame. Wait, no, I still have the knight. So I'm still a knight up. So I can come over here, win the a-pawn, and try to keep this pawn on the board. So now b1 queens. Knight takes. If rook d6, rook takes h7, rook takes a6, rook h5, rook a5, knight c3, or rook a8, knight c3. Should be good enough. Alright, mistakes made in this position, king h8. Okay, so the first move is not, the first move is just, you can't, so there are three squares the king can go to. The king can go to, well, I guess there are more than, there's king h8, there's king f8, there's king f6, and there's king h6. If king h6, h8 queens. If king h8, rook check, king g7, queens. Does that queen? Oh no, he would play, okay, so it goes king h8, rook check, king g7, rook g8 check, then queens. And the same thing if king f8. If king f8, rook check, king g7, rook check, queens. So you can't go to h8, you can't go to f8, you can't go to h6. So clearly the only square you can go to is f6. And I sort of took the problem from there. Alright. Thank you for watching. That's going to be it for this session. And until next time, good luck with your chess journey, and see you around. Goodbye.